Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This will be our third week of conversation classes. Before we begin our class, I would like to explain a few things to you about some changes that are being made. This is mostly to do with how are we going to carry on classes for the rest of semester. These changes will mostly be made starting next week, Monday. So that'll be April 6th. There will be some new changes that are on how are we going to be interacting, how will we carry on these classes. But first thing, I'm sure that you have all signed up and signed up into the groups for on Band, your classrooms. You've gotten the application, you've joined each classroom that you're supposed to be in. I will be posting some more information as I receive it. So once I receive it and I understand a little bit more how are we going to be able to do these classes, I will let you know in the group, in a group post. And if you have any questions about anything that I post, you're welcome to message me or comment on the post, or you can also message me directly. There is a direct message. Part of Band. You can just send a text that way if you have a question for me. As I say, these changes are going to be made primarily from April 6th. That's next week, Monday. We'll be changing how we will be doing these classes a little bit. First thing you might need to be aware of that as of next week, Monday, that's April 6th, I would like everyone to have joined a Google Classroom, right? Similar to Band, Google Classroom, each class has its own Google Class. I will show you how to join Google Classroom, and I will give you your Google Classroom code for each class on Band. So on Band, I will post a video after this video. I will post a video just on how to join Google Classroom, and I will also post a group link for your specific class on Band. So just watch out for that. I'll send you a text about it on Band a little bit later. So first of all is on Google Classroom, you will receive, you'll be getting these videos. So if you're doing online classes, these videos are going to be placed onto Google Classroom. We've had problems, obviously, as you probably now are aware. We've been having problems with using Cyber Campus. It wasn't designed to have so many people using Cyber Campus at the same time. So the videos are running a little bit slowly and it's hard to watch, and some people are having more problems than others. So we decided to use Google Classroom instead. I'll let you know that it starts next week, April 6th. Everyone should be on Google Classroom by then. That's one thing. Another thing that I'm sure you've read is that on the school website, on the university website, you might have read that we'll be changing how we'll be doing these classes a little bit. They said we'll be doing a two-way system or two-way lecture system where you'll have an opportunity to do an offline class. If you want to come to come to university and do these lectures in class, you have the option to do that. I recommend that you do. It's a much, much, much better way to be able to do this material, to interact with me, for me to help you a little bit better if you come to offline classes. If you decide not to come to offline classes, they will be recorded. I will put videos of classes onto our Google Classroom. You'll be able to download and watch the videos as you like, and any material that we do in class. But again, I do hope that you do come to offline classes. They're much better than doing this online thing. It's much better if you come to class. Again, it is up to you. But again, that starts next week. Next week, Monday, April 6th, we'll be doing two-way system of lectures. offline and online. Right, that's one thing. Another thing you should be aware of, because of all the problems we're having with coronavirus, we will not be doing TOEIC scores. Okay, TOEIC scores will not be part of your semester grade. Right, so if you've done TOEIC already, that's great. But as a whole, for everybody, TOEIC grades will not be counted for your final grade. But I will, however, give you an assignment. Right, I'll give you an assignment. It might be 1 or 2 assignments. I haven't decided yet, but TOEIC scores count for 20%. I will think of an assignment to give you that will, which will count as 20%. I haven't decided yet. When I decide, I will let you know, either on Band or in Classroom or in Google Classroom. I'll decide how we're going to get those 20%. So once again, no TOEIC for this semester, but you will get an assignment when I decide there's one. Right, and one other thing I need to tell you about is finals and midterms. We're not sure how we're going to be doing finals and midterms. You will get a finals and midterm something. We're still trying to figure out the logistics. How are we going to be able to grade you or do something that will count for a final and a midterms? As we've figured out a little bit more, as we've decided, we will let you know what you'll need to do for your finals, what you'll need to do for your midterms. But for now, keep the same dates. Midterms, finals are happening. They will happen. They might be a little bit different in how we do them this semester. Right. So as I said, there's a lot going on right now. There's a lot that you probably need to think about. If you have questions about it, again, I will post on Band a little bit more information about what I just spoke about now. If you have questions about it, please feel free to comment or to send me a text if there's something that you need to that you don't understand that you need to talk about. Okay, all right, so that's starting next week, April 6th. So for this week, we are going to quickly finish up what we started on with Unit 1. I'd like to finish that quickly this week, starting with what I asked you to do for homework. Now, if you remember, last week we spoke about lifestyles, behaviors, like what do we do and how often we do them. And if you look on the side here, I asked you to do 1, 2, and 3 for homework. And let's just go over some of the answers. You can check with me just so that you know that you're on the right track. You're using the grammar correctly. So for number 1, question number 1 says, put the adverb in the correct place in each question, then write your answer. Okay, the adverb here is at the end in parentheses. So for example, the question they have here would be, do you go to bed late on weekdays? And in parentheses, they have ever. How would we use that in a question? Well, in a question we say, do you ever go to bed late? Do you ever go to bed late on weekdays? Answer, yes, I do. I usually go to bed late on Wednesdays because I work at a convenience store until midnight. Right? Or, no, I never go to bed late. I have to get up early for class. Right? Whatever your answer is. So it's asking you to make a question and then give your own answer to that question. So right, let's look at number 1. Number 1's question is, do you have coffee for breakfast? Using ever. Answer. Do you Oh, sorry. Let's go back there. Question would be, do you ever have coffee for breakfast? Okay. Yes, I do. I always have coffee for breakfast. Or no, I don't. I never have coffee for breakfast. Or maybe, sure, I sometimes have coffee for breakfast. All right. Number two, question. Do you work in the evenings using sometimes? Do you sometimes work in the evenings? Number three, what do you do on Sunday mornings? Answer, what do you usually do on Sunday mornings? Number four, do you work in the mornings? Answer, do you often work in the mornings? Number five, do you wake up at the same time every morning? Do you always wake up at the same time every morning? Number six, what time do you go to bed? What time do you usually go to bed? Okay, so let's go through questions one more time. Do you have coffee for breakfast? Do you ever have coffee for breakfast? Do you work in the evenings? Do you sometimes work in the evenings? What do you do on Sunday mornings? What do you usually do on Sunday mornings? Do you work in the mornings? Do you often work in the mornings? Do you wake up at the same time every morning? Do you always wake up at the same time every morning? And number six, what time do you go to bed? What time do you usually go to bed? Good. Right. Next part is number two. Look over here, number two. It asks you to put these words in the correct order to make questions. All right. How do we change the order of these words to make questions? There's quite a few here, so let's look at the answers easily. All right. So number one, do you ever get up late on weekends? Do you ever get up late on weekends? Number two, what do you do on Saturday evening? What do you do on Saturday evening? Number three, do you often go out with friends? Do you often go out with friends? Number four, what time do you usually eat dinner? What time do you usually eat dinner? Number five, do you sometimes check your email in the morning? Do you sometimes check your email in the morning? And number six, when do you usually clean up your room? When do you usually clean up your room? All right, so let's go down a little bit to number three. It asks you to complete the questions using the words in parentheses, then match questions with the answers. So complete the questions using the words here in parentheses, then match each question with an answer. All right, so number one, what do you do on Friday evenings? What do you do on Friday evenings? Right, and if we look down at the bottom here, B, I usually go out with friends. Number 2, how often does Jim cook? Answer is C, about 3 times a week. Number 3, do they wake up early on weekends? Do they wake up early on weekends? And the answer is, oh, sorry, I didn't put an answer there. Answer is E, sometimes yes. Sometimes yes. Number 4, when does Sue start work? When does Sue start work? And the answer is A, around 7, I think. She works hard. And last one, why do you get up early every day? The answer is D, because I always have a lot of work to do. Okay, I'm hoping that wasn't too difficult. I'm hoping you kind of understood a little bit of what we're looking at here, using adverbs to discuss how often you do something, and also how to use yes or no questions. Okay, next we're going to carry on a little bit. Let's turn to page, let's have a look here. If you could please turn to page 6. All right, on page 6, carry on with lifestyles. Since you're probably not with a partner right now, you maybe self-quarantining or self-isolating, whatever it is. If you're not with a partner, that's fine. You can try to do this on your own. Some of these exercises, especially when we start doing more of the speaking part, if you're not with a partner right now, I do hope that you try do some of these exercises with a partner. As I said, you're all unbanned right now. You can, if you know each other, if you want to speak to each other in band, you can start a group chat, discuss who you want to speak to, who you can communicate with. You can share numbers, you can share Skype, share Kakao, however it is you want to communicate. But try do some in-person, face-to-face practice, conversation, ask each other questions. There will be a speaking exercise later that I want you to try. If you can't do it in person, please try through Skype or through Kakao video chats or something that you can speak to each other and see each other. But all right, let's go into lifestyles. Let's look at some of these stories here. So with a partner or on your own, ask and answer questions about the lifestyles of these people. So reading through this little comic. Should I blow it up a bit? Right, so the first one, some questions I'm going to ask here. Let's read through together. So looking at Vicky, looking at a time. Vicky always gets up at 7:30 a.m. Vicky always works Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Vicky usually gets home in the evening. Okay, look at all the little pictures. What does her lifestyle tell you? All right. Okay, so let's look at the questions. So A, what time does Vicky get up? What time does Vicky get up? All right, so answer, we'd say Vicky always gets up at 7:30. What else can you tell me about Vicky's lifestyle? She works 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. What else? She starts at 9 and she finishes at 5. She usually gets home in the evening. Right? She meets her friends twice a week, and she often watches TV. Okay, right, you got the hang of it. I want you to think about, let's read for Ken. Please read Ken, and also please read Karina. What can you tell me about those two? What's about their lifestyle can you think about? All right, let's go Ken. Question and answer for Ken. What kind of questions can you ask for Ken? So A, Ken, how often does Ken work? Answer, Ken works 6 days a week. He starts at 4 p.m. and he finishes at 12 p.m. Question, what time does Ken take a bath? Answer, Ken always takes a bath at 1 a.m. Question, what time does Ken go to bed? Ken usually goes to bed at 2:30 a.m. Another question, when does Ken meet his friends? Ken meets his friends on Sunday afternoons. Last one, how often does Ken call his friends? Ken often calls his friends at lunchtime. Question and answer, question and answer. Good. Let's see if we can try for Karina this time. Let's have a look at Karina. Give you a few minutes. Think of some questions and answers for Karina's lifestyle. Okay, so question, Karina. What question can I ask for Karina? All right, when does Karina study English? Right? English department. When does Karina study English? Or when does Karina go to English class? Karina always goes to English class at 9 a.m. Right? Question. How often does Karina cook? Karina cooks 7 days a week. Next one. How often does Karina clean her room? Maybe, right? How often does Karina clean her room? She usually. No, that's not a good question. Let's think of another question. When? That's a better question. When does Karina clean her room? That's a better question. Karina usually cleans her room at night, right? Looks like she's getting ready for bed. Karina usually cleans her room at night. All right, let's look over here. How often does Karina study? Karina hardly ever studies. Oh, that's like a little tricky one. Um, does Karina ever go to bed early? Does Karina ever go to bed early? Let's look over here. It says 1:30 a.m. I'd say Karina never goes to bed early. Okay, Karina never goes to bed early. Right, again, these are up to you. If you have a partner to practice those questions and answers with, please try with your partner. Again, Skype each other, talk to each other, and see. Maybe you have different questions, different ideas of questions you can ask each other and answers you can give each other. Good. Let's go on to page 7. Page 7, we're going to do a quick listening exercise. Right, I'm going to play you. I'm going to play a short audio clip, and I'd like you to listen and answer some of these questions here. So, for number 1, listening. Listen to Andy from Utah, United States, talk about living and working in Shanghai, China, and then answer these questions. So I want you to come up with your own answers from what you hear in the audio clip. So listen to Andy from Utah, talk about working in Shanghai, China, answer the questions. Question number 1 is, what's Andy's job? What's Andy's job? Number 2, where in Shanghai does he live? Where in Shanghai does he live? And number 3, does he work on weekends? Does he work on weekends? All right, let's listen to the clip and see what your answers are. Oh, let's move this around a bit.
Unit 1, page 7, listening.
Andy, you work in a hotel here in Shanghai, right?
Yes, I'm an assistant manager. This is my 2nd year here.
Oh, so I guess you like your job.
Sure, but I work hard. I often work over 50 hours a week.
Everyone works long hours in Shanghai. What's a typical work day like for you?
Well, I get up at 6, eat breakfast, and then start work at 7. I always have lunch at noon, and in the afternoon, I usually have meetings, or sometimes I help hotel guests with any problems.
And how do you like Shanghai?
It's great. The people, the food, everything.
Where do you live? Do you live in the center?
I'm lucky because I live in the hotel.
That's great.
Yeah, I always eat here too, so I can save money. I never work in the evenings, so I like to go out with friends a lot.
I see. Where do you usually go when you go out?
Downtown to a place called Club Paradise. Shanghai has a great nightlife.
Do you work on weekends?
Hardly ever. I usually bike around the city on Sundays.
Sounds fun. Well, thanks for telling me about your lifestyle here in Shanghai, Andy.
You're welcome.
Right. Good job. Okay, I'll play it one more time if there's anything you might have missed. Let me play it once more through and write down your answers.
Unit 1, page 7, listening.
Andy, you work in a hotel here in Shanghai, right?
Yes, I'm an assistant manager. This is my second year here.
Oh, so I guess you like your job.
Sure, but I work hard. I often work over 50 hours a week.
Everyone works long hours in Shanghai. What's a typical workday like for you?
Well, I get up at 6, eat breakfast, and then start work at 7. I always have lunch at noon, and in the afternoon, I usually have meetings, or sometimes I help hotel guests with any problems.
And how do you like Shanghai?
It's great. The people, the food, everything.
Where do you live? Do you live in the center?
I'm lucky because I live in the hotel.
That's great.
Yeah, I always eat here too, so I can save money. I never work in the evenings, so I like to go out with friends a lot.
I see. Where do you usually go when you go out?
Downtown to a place called Club Paradise. Shanghai has a great nightlife.
Do you work on weekends?
Hardly ever. I usually bike around the city on Sundays.
Sounds fun. Well, thanks for telling me about your lifestyle here in Shanghai, Andy.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's answer some of these questions. All right, so number one, where's Andy's job? Where's Andy's job? Answer. Sorry, not where. What's Andy's job? And answer is he's an assistant manager. He's an assistant manager. Number two, where in Shanghai does he live? He lives in the hotel where he works. And number three, does he work on weekends? No, he already. That's my mistake. This should actually read, no, he never works on weekends. Does he work on weekends? No, he never works on weekends. There was a mistake here on the PowerPoint, my mistake. I'll change that in the future. But no, he never works on weekends. All right, let's go to number two. Listen again and complete these sentences. So you have to write in the missing words in these sentences. I'll play it through one more time. Please write in what words are missing.
Unit 1, page 7, listening.
Andy, you work in a hotel here in Shanghai, right?
Yes, I'm an assistant manager. This is my second year here.
Oh, so I guess you like your job.
Sure, but I work hard. I often work over 50 hours a week.
Everyone works long hours in Shanghai. What's a typical workday like for you?
Well, I get up at 6, eat breakfast, and then start work at 7. I always have lunch at noon, and in the afternoon, I usually have meetings, or sometimes I help hotel guests with any problems.
And how do you like Shanghai?
It's great. The people, the food, everything.
Where do you live? Do you live in the center?
I'm lucky because I live in the hotel.
That's great.
Yeah, I always eat here too, so I can save money. I never work in the evenings, so I like to go out with friends a lot.
I see. Where do you usually go when you go out?
Downtown to a place called Club Paradise. Shanghai has a great nightlife.
Do you work on weekends?
Hardly ever. I usually bike around the city on Sundays.
Sounds fun. Well, thanks for telling me about your lifestyle here in Shanghai, Andy.
You're welcome.
Okay, good. Let's fill in these words, fill in the spaces. Number one, Andy often works over 50 hours a week. He gets up at 6 in the morning. He starts work at 7 a.m. He always has lunch at noon. He never works in the evenings. He usually bikes around the city on Sunday. Right, easy daily life questions about Andy and what's his lifestyle like. So this is usually the part where I would ask you guys in class to get together with a partner and ask each other and do an interview, some speaking exercises, ask and answer questions. Now, since you're probably not with somebody, if you are with somebody right now, this is a good time to take some time to interview each other. If you're not with somebody at the moment, please in your band groups, please find somebody who you would like to interview. Make groups together. I'll give you more information about it. I guess I'll speak to you on the band group. But find a partner and practice the speaking exercise, interview exercise with a partner. I suggest maybe going through Skype. If you have Skype, that's great. If you want to do video chat, or if you want to do any other video chat program, I suggest doing it that way so you can see each other and ask and answer each other. Please, when you do answer the questions, ask for more information. Okay, try ask for a little bit more information about your partner. Right, for example, over here, I'd like you to write in all the answers that are about you. So let's get a little bit closer so we can see. So if I say, oh, okay, let's get over there. So yeah, so in the daily lives, okay, the daily lives question is, what time do you usually get up? All right, you can write down the answer for yourself. What time do you usually get up? I usually get up at 7 a.m. I usually get up at 8 a.m. I usually get up at 6:30. Whatever your answer is, please write full sentences. Please don't just write 6, or don't just write 7, or don't just write 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. Please write the full sentence so you can practice the grammar. So you can say, I usually get up at 7 a.m. I always get up at 8 a.m. Okay, try use some of the grammar that we've practiced in this unit and write full sentences, please, and answer full sentences. Sorry about that. Right. Next question is: Do you always have breakfast? Yes, I always have breakfast. More information: I usually have scrambled eggs, or I often have cereal, or I never have breakfast. Okay, I'm very busy. Okay, whatever it is, try ask for more information. Okay, write down your answers. When do you have class? Please write your answers. I usually have class from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. I usually have class from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. or whatever your schedule is. Are you sometimes late for class? Do you often study at night? Do you always do your homework? What time do you usually go to bed? First, I want you to write down your answers. And then on the side here, I want you to speak to your friend. So on this side, you'll have your answers. And on this side, when you do your Skype interview, or when you do your Skype chat, or you do your in-person chat, I want you to ask your partner for their answers, right? And then write down what your partner's answers are. Okay, just a regular interview. I'm sure you've done many times before. All right, and if we get a little further down, I want you to also answer these for yourself. A little bit more about your daily schedule. Let's get a bit closer. Right, so how often do you do things? So check for yourself, or interview your partner. Sorry, excuse me. So just check these boxes for yourself. So think about your own daily routine. How often do you cook dinner? How often do you clean your room? Check these boxes on the side here. Once a month, once a week, 2 or 3 times a week, every day. Check the box. Check one box for each of these questions about your daily life, and then do a dialogue. Okay, speak to your partner. Ask them, how often do you cook dinner? And then get an answer. I cook dinner 2 or 3 times a week. How about you? Oh, I cook dinner every day. Next question. Your partner will answer. Oh, your partner will ask you, how often do you clean your room? And you can answer, oh, I clean my room once a week. How about you? Oh, I clean my room once a month. So change questions. Change who's A, change who's B. Ask and answer each other's questions. So again, I said this is a pair exercise. Please find a partner, do it through Skype, practice with each other how to ask and answer questions, and do that in your own time. Again, when we start doing classes offline, this is the kind of exercises I would like to do in class, so I can help you and I can give you some more information on how you can answer the questions a little bit better. So if you can come to online classes starting next week, if you can come to offline classes, come to lab classes, please try and come to a lab class. It's much more helpful. But if you can't, do it through Skype and with a partner, or watch these online lectures too. All right, so that exercise I'd like you to do on your own. I'd like to carry on a little bit to, we're gonna do a little skills expansion. This will be some listening. We'll get through this quite quickly. I won't spend too much time on this. I just want to see what your listening comprehension is. What do you understand? So please, let's go to page 8. Right, so now we're going to be listening for times when someone does something. So listen to Carmela talk about student life in Spain and then complete the missing times. Okay, listen out for here and fill in these empty spaces. Oh, sorry. All right, so let's listen to her daily routine.
Unit 1, page 8. Skills expansion. Listening.
Welcome to the university. My name is Carmela Martinez, and I want to tell you about daily life here in Spain, because it's probably a little different from life in your country. Classes are always before lunch, between 8 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. And then, of course, we have lunch. Lunch is at 2. It's the big meal of the day and can last 2 hours or more. This is also our siesta time. The stores close and they don't open again until around 5 o'clock. This is when people often go shopping and look around the markets. People usually go to the main square, Plaza Mayor, for coffee or to talk with friends. We eat late. We hardly ever have dinner before 10 o'clock. So when people go out after dinner, it's often around midnight. We usually meet friends in bars, and then around 2 a.m., we go to nightclubs and dance, sometimes until 6 or 7 in the morning. Now you understand why students never go out during the week. Are there any questions?
Yes. When can we take a tour?
Okay, good. Let's fill in the missing spaces. Let's see how much you could hear. So, classes. When are her classes? Between 8 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. Lunch. Lunch at 2 can last over 2 hours. All right, Spanish lunches are very long, could be about 2 hours long. Siesta. Okay, siesta is the rest time for many businesses and people. All right, so when is siesta? Stores close until 5. All right, after 5 p.m., people go shopping, look around markets, go to the Plaza Mayor. All right, dinner hardly ever before 10. People usually go out around midnight, meet friends in bars. People often go to nightclubs around 2 a.m. and dance until 6 or 7 in the morning. Okay, all right, we're not going to listen again, but who do you think she's speaking to? I think she's speaking to her friends and family, students, or teachers. You can decide for yourself. Who do you think she's speaking to? All right, once you check the box, I'll ask you, who do you think she is speaking to in our next lesson? And tell me, why do you think that? So who do you think she's speaking to? Okay, all right. So next one we're going to do is a viewing. We're going to do a video viewing. You're going to watch, what's her name? Annie's typical day as a student at NYU, at New York University. Before you watch, I want you to read this summary. Quickly read the summary for yourself. I'm going to read it with you. Okay, so summary. Annie wakes up at 7 a.m. She has class from around 9 or 9:30 until about noon. In the afternoon, she works in the library for a couple of hours. After dinner, she does her homework. She goes to bed at around 10 or 10:30 at night. Okay, so now we're going to watch a video, and I want you to find 3 mistakes. Find 3 mistakes in this summary. Circle or underline them as you are watching. Oh, I lost her. Let's open her up.
I'm here with Annie, who's going to tell us about a typical day in the life of a New Yorker.
Okay. My typical day includes waking up at 8. I brush my teeth, take a shower, eat breakfast. Class usually starts around 9 or 9:30 and goes until maybe about 1. And I go to school at NYU. I study philosophy. And I also work at the library, so I work in the afternoons for a couple hours, and then I'll usually get dinner with friends or talk on the phone with some friends back home in California. And then I eat dinner, do my homework, and go to sleep. That's about it.
So when do you have time to study with that busy schedule?
I usually study at night. I think it helps me remember it in the morning. And sometimes I study on the weekends.
So when does your day end?
Probably around 10 or 11 at night.
And how long have you been in New York City?
I've been in New York for 3 years now. I'm a junior, so.
Thank you so much for talking with us today.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. So, first mistake, Annie wakes up at 8 a.m., not 7. Second mistake, she has classes until about 1 p.m., not noon. And last mistake, she goes to bed around 10 or 11 at night. Just a couple of mistakes. Okay, so let's try number 3 quickly. Number 3, we're going to watch again, and I want you to circle the correct, please circle the correct answers. So the words in italics, please circle the correct answers. Oh, let's play it again one more time.
I'm here with Annie, who's going to tell us about a typical day in the life of a New Yorker.
Okay. My typical day includes waking up at 8. I brush my teeth, take a shower, eat breakfast. Class usually starts around 9 or 9:30 and goes until maybe about 1. And I go to school at NYU. I study philosophy. And I also work at the library, so I work in the afternoons for a couple hours, and then I'll usually get dinner with friends or talk on the phone with some friends back home in California. And then I eat dinner, do my homework, and go to sleep. That's about it.
So when do you have time to study with that busy schedule?
I usually study at night. I think it helps me remember it in the morning. And sometimes I study on the weekends.
So when does your day end?
Probably around 10 or 11 at night.
And how long have you been in New York City?
I've been in New York for 3 years now. I'm a junior, so.
Thank you so much for talking with us today.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, right, so circle the correct answers. Annie takes a shower in the morning. She studies philosophy at NYU. She usually phones her friends in the evening. She is not a native New Yorker. And number 5, she sometimes studies on Saturdays and Sundays. Okay, so if you'd like, with your friend or your partner, you can talk about your typical day. Is your typical day like Annie's? What's your typical day like at university? What's your typical day like these days? Okay. What are you doing these days? Right. the final thing I want to do is I'd like you to. Okay, the final thing we're going to do is for the quiz. Right. Again, remember, just like normal, you're going to do a quiz. I'm going to have 5 questions for you that are going to be on the quiz. Go on the mobile app, the Songyul mobile app, and do the quizzes on there. The quizzes might change next week, starting April 6th. The quiz situation might change because attendance will change a little bit. But for now, I'm going to give you 5 questions for your quiz. You need to answer on the Songyul mobile app. Right. The questions will come from page 9. Right, on page 9, I would like you to read this little article here.